Ready to rush to the front lines, and depending on your view, he's also been described as a conservative propagandist and a Tea Party loyalist. His new book is called Righteous Indignation, Excuse Me While I Save the World. Not a very modest title. In the book, you will find scarcely a word about one of his most infamous episodes involving Shirley Sherrod, the former USDA official fired after a video of her was posted on a Breitbart website. Sherrod is now suing Breitbart for accusing her of racism after showing, quote, a deceptively edited clip. And I'm delighted to say that Andrew Breitbart joins us now. Good afternoon, sir.
Well, I don't accept the premise.
But let me move forward. In your book, which I've read, you write, I'm not religious and I'm certainly no theologian, but if there's one thing in religion that speaks to me, it is the idea of absolute truth. We start by uncovering the truth and telling everyone about it. So those are your words.
Absolutely.
So let's start then with establishing a single important truth. Did you watch the entire video of Shirley Sherrod's speech before you posted what were 136 seconds of it online?
No.
Was that a responsible thing to do as a journalist who is concerned to excavate the truth?
I guarantee you that every single day MSNBC does that all the time. In fact, MSNBC was the place that cut off a black person's head and said that the Tea Party was racist because they were coming to tea parties with guns on them, and MSNBC cut the actual guy, and the guy was black. Sure. Is that truthful journalism?
I wasn't here, and I don't know the details.
I go, well, look. Sure. The thing is that
can I just go back to the point, though?
I'll go back to the point.
Just back to the point. The actual speech was 43 minutes long.
Right.
Was it remiss, on reflection, to post 136 seconds of that speech?
People put clips up all the time, and that clip explained something very important that even included her narrative of realizing it's not about black versus white, it's about rich versus poor. And you know who came to my defense during that period of time, and I still to this day haven't thanked him for that? It was Chris Matthews, and he flummoxed Howard Dean and Salon's Joan Walsh, and included in the piece that everybody took selectively edited out of context. In the piece that went with two videos, I wrote, eventually her basic humanity informs her to help the white farmer. What happened is that other media took it and cut off that part and talked about it on TV.
Okay.
And so I ended up being a captive to the fact that other people selectively edited out my entire 1,400-word argument.
At the time that you posted the excerpt, the 136 seconds, you wrote, Shirley Sherrod had, quotes, racially discriminated against a white farmer.
Read the whole. Why are you selectively editing out the entire piece?
Can I just finish?
Sure.
And that the NAACP audience approved with murmurs of recognition and agreement. Quote. Now, we have you saying something similar on camera. Let's take a look.
I think that the clip as it exists proved precisely the news point that needed to be made.
What was that news point?
I had been battling the NAACP against the false allegation that the Tea Party is racist. The entire 14-word piece makes that argument. That I hit the target. The NAACP is affirmed in Shirley Sherrod's day one statement, where she said this is the NAACP's fault, and she said, and the NAACP apologized for the audience's reaction. It's significant that they apologized for the audience's reaction because the NAACP's head, Ben Jealous, for the week before attacked the Tea Party based upon the false premise that it yelled the N-word at Congressmen Carson and Lewis. I have 4 videos that show that it didn't happen, and NBC will not show those videos.
Andrew, let's just stay focused. You said in your original text in that video, Miss Sherrod, I'm quoting you, admits that she discriminates against people due to their race.
Precisely, yes.
That's what I...
In the piece, she did, and the audience reacted.
Please allow me to explain what I'm going to put to you. That was the diametric opposite truth of what she said. What she actually said was that she went on to go out of her way to assist, and her experience was an example of not discriminating on the basis of race. Why do you put Miss Sherrod admits that she discriminates against people due to their race? That's a deliberate misrepresentation of the truth.
I wrote in the piece that eventually her basic humanity informs her to help the white farmer.
Andrew,
and
I'm quoting your words.
Yes, and read the rest of the piece.
How can you claim in your book to be so committed to truth-telling?
I just told you the truth.
How can you do that
just told you the
when
truth.
You publish something?
You don't want to hear what I just told you.
I'm listening to you, sir.
I told you, eventually her basic humanity informed her to help the white farmer, and I kept in the part of the arc. The whole point was to show that the NAACP has no right to judge the Tea Party on racism if it keep its own house in order. That was the point of it. That was the point of the clip.
So if your work was so balanced, why was she forced to resign?
Who said that it was balanced?
That's what you're just arguing.
I'm not. I came with a point to show that the NAACP was in no position to judge the Tea Party. That is exactly what happened. And listen to me. Nobody went after.
Andrew,
President Obama.
Even after. Can I just put
yes.
this? Even Glenn Beck, who happily believes the notion that an Islamic caliphate is being constructed, in his words, from New Zealand to Nairobi, even he says that you deliberately misrepresented.
Well, he's lying, and the reason why he did.
He's right, isn't he?
He insinuated on the.
You misrepresented her.
Do you want me to answer the question?
Please do. Did you misrepresent her?
I'm answering. Listen to me. Glenn Beck said Andrew needs to apologize. He insinuated that he didn't touch the story. They said that the reason why the White House fired her was because they were worried that she was going to be, that this was going to be on the Glenn Beck show. Glenn Beck, in fact, ripped into Shirley Sherrod in his morning radio show. He was the one that diverted the attention away from the context, which was the NAACP angle, and made it about Shirley Sherrod. And on the air, he cut out the part where she said that I kept in the video that said it's not about black versus white, it's about rich versus poor, which is her redemptive arc, which was in the piece that said eventually her humanity informed her to help the white farmer. Answer me why the President of the United States, when he was told that she helped the white farmer, did not rehire her. It took another day for that to happen. The reason why this happened, MSNBC told me. They said Andrew Breitbart was responsible for black farmers in the lawsuit.
Let's go back to your book.
You don't want to know the truth.
Of course I do, Andrew.
You don't.
Let's go back to the book. In the book, you say that one of the biggest influences on your intellectual and social development is a man you call Professor Rush Limbaugh. Is that right?
Yes, he was very influential.
Okay. Now, you know that Mr. Limbaugh quite recently did a, some would call humorous, others would say offensive impersonation of the Prime Minister of China. You also have asked Kevin Pezzi to write for BigGovernment.com.
Oh my gosh, you really are getting your Media Matters talking points.
Can I just go with you to this?
Once I found out about who Kevin Pezzi was, he submitted a piece.
Can I just, Andrew,
he submitted a piece. The second we found out about him, we got rid of him.
Allow me to finish. Mr. Pezzi, as you know, likes to use racist epithets like Japs and Chinks. He also maintains that African Americans should be grateful for being subjugated.
That's deplorable. It's deplorable. It's deplorable. It's deplorable, Andrew, Martin. Why are you doing guilt by association?
Because here's the point I'm trying to make.
You're selectively editing out the fact that I got rid of him once I found out about that. I had never met him before, and he submitted an article, and you are selectively editing history right now.
Allow me to take you back to what I was just saying. You take 136 seconds and post it. You then employ an individual who takes views like that, or use an individual who has views.
He was a blogger.
Sorry,
there are thousands of people.
You use his views, and now you just said you fired him. You just said
I didn't fire him.
That's what you just said.
He was a blogger who posted something at my site. Once I found out what this guy was about, I got rid of him immediately, and I took the piece off of the site. You want to do guilt by association?
No, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to follow the narrative of your own book, and what I'm saying is we have.
What have I not told the truth about? What have I not told the truth about?
We've had Rush Limbaugh. Let me just get.
What have I not told the truth about? What have I not told the truth about? You started this off.
I want to ask you a question.
What have I not told the truth about?
Let me ask you a question. This week, Obama dressed and in a family of apes.
Are you asking me about this? What do I have to do with it?
I want to ask you, what do you think of that image?
It's deplorable. It's deplorable. It's reprehensible, and you're trying to insinuate that I'm a racist here, which is what MSNBC does to conservatives every single day. This entire context of this conversation is what the NAACP and what the Democratic Party has been doing to the Tea Party for the last year.
I haven't spoken to anyone.
And the entire context of this, the subtext of this interview.
Why didn't you, when you published Shirley Sherrod's comments, the 136 seconds, and your voluminous article, as you rightly point out, why didn't you stand up and defend her and say, actually, she's not a racist? Why did you write things like she's racially discriminated against a white farmer?
Because the rest of the video showed different things that illuminated something that was not as black and white as
so
you would like.
We use some bits of the information and we don't use others.
No, she said that. Why don't you hold her accountable for saying that I wanted to bring black people back to slavery? She, on day one, said this was the NAACP's fault. A week later, she said, this has nothing to do with the NAACP. This is about Andrew Breitbart. Somebody told her, we need to target Andrew Breitbart at this point. On day one, the NAACP understood perfectly well what the context of this video was, and I successfully stopped their waging the campaign that MSNBC was party to try to falsely frame the Tea Party as racist.
I wasn't working here.
I'm not talking about MSNBC.
Let me move on to the book. I'm trying to focus on your book. I'm pulling out material from your book. In the book, you talk about bloggers, citizen journalists, who have implied that the president's autobiography, Dreams from My Father, was written by, quote, I'm quoting, the domestic terrorist Bill Ayers.
Yes, I think that's first of all,
is there any evidence to support that?
The Jack Cashel articles on that are very compelling. It's clearly a
what is the evidence?
It's clearly a theory.
What is the
evidence? And I said that I believe it. And
what
this is
the
an opinion.
Evidence?
You're not going to shut down dissent in this country. I believe it to the core of my being.
I'm asking you to evidence the fact
Read the
that
Jack
Bill Ayers
Cashel article. I believe that it's a compelling argument. It's a very complex argument, but I would say the most.
Mr. Ayers has denied doing this.
He's also said that he has.
But he's denied.
But he's also said that he has.
Ghostwriting the autobiography.
But he also has said that he has. He has also said that he has.
Here we have a problem, you see, because
I'm allowed to have this opinion.
Shirley Sherrod, we have Rush, we have you quoting people suggesting that they're ghostwriters. Do you see how
there's nothing wrong with having? If you've read through my entire book, you didn't read my book. Media Matters read it for you. Every single thing.
I've marked it up. I've read the whole thing.
Every single point that you've offered is straight out of George Soros's funded and John Podesta's led Media Matters. You are playing the role of a dupe of John Podesta and Eric Bullard and Media Matters. Every time I appear on MSNBC, or a lot of times, there's Eric Bullard from Media Matters to be right there. Those are talking points straight out of Media Matters.
You and I are having a conversation about truth.
We are. And Media Matters is over there. George Soros is sitting over there, and Bill Ayers is sitting over here. Well, you have agenda-driven journalism. I support it. I support MSNBC. I support Keith Olbermann when he was fined by MSNBC, because the implication that he was giving money was somehow ethically wrong when everybody knows where he comes from. Everybody knows where you're coming from. I believe in a back and forth.
Okay, Andrew. Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. The prescription